Welcome to the New Tracks Meetup. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Hope you'll come back often and tell your friends about us. It's never enough people here, and we can always use more. The train show coming up, scheduled for November the 21st. We have 30 slots filled so far, and I expect we'll have at least another 10 or so by the time of the show. So it'll be almost twice as big as the first show. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. So if you get a chance, I hope that you'll join us on November the 21st at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Time. The one after that is scheduled for January the 16th. And the one after that is for March the 20th. So we have, after the one coming up in November, we have 2 more scheduled. And then hopefully we'll do one every 2 months after that. If you have any questions or comments about it, please let me know, because we want to make this enjoyable for the buyer and profitable for the seller. That's what this is all about. So we hope that you'll join us and contribute whatever advice and counsel that you have. Hope that you'll also go to our new website that TC created for us. It's newtracksmodeling.com and register in the site, and you'll automatically then start getting emails for all the future activities, so you won't miss any of them. Chris Kuss is going to be holding the next My Bill on October the 14th, a little bit more than a week from now. And we hope that you'll come that evening and also bring a model to share with us. We'd love to see what you're working on or what you've just finished. And with that said, I'd like to introduce tonight Charles Kraft. And Dylan, if you can put up that one photo that I sent you. Charles is really a talented guy. And I met him when I was writing an article on card modeling. And I went to his website, and it's the only website that I found with an awful lot of free items on it that you could download in card and build. These are just some, I don't know, there must be hundreds of different companies that he has containers on his website that you can download and build. And if you're building a container yard, or you're modeling that time of modeling, then this is an awfully inexpensive way for you to gain an awful lot of different kind of containers for free. And then all you got to do is download them. And I guarantee you they're not that difficult to put together. If you want to use them in a train, you can always weight the inside of them, which is easy to do. And then you've got plenty of weight in your car. So I was really impressed with what I saw on Charles's site. I contacted him, and I included him in that card article. And about, I don't know, a month or so ago, I contacted him and asked him to join us tonight because I'd like for you to meet him and have an opportunity to talk with him about the kind of modeling that he does, his website, and what his interests are. So Charles, thank you so much for coming this evening. I really do appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you very much for having me on. I'm basically, I started modeling since I was really young. I did a lot of modeling with my dad. Got into it over the years, kind of gone on and off. I started doing started an 8 show, went back to H show again. Yeah, and one of the things that I came across a lot of times was well, I started with the shipping container. Actually, one of the things with the shipping containers started off with growing up playing with friends that was playing a lot of tabletop games. We were playing Warhammer 40K, and we decided my friend wanted some decorational pieces and stuff, so we decided to put some of those pieces together, and we ended up doing the the shipping containers. And then with my hobby with modeling, I ended up doing it for modeling too, and it worked out really well for some of the scenic scenes that I was working on with my dad and stuff. And we liked it. So, and then I just kind of offered it to on my website. I will. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably demonstrate how I do this. I use Photoshop. I use Corel Photoshop.
Screen share is all yours, Charles, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. There we go. So I kind of just have presetted some of the templates I'm going to be doing right here. So the way I do it, I just kind of come up with I'm just trying to seconds. I'm just trying to remove one of the there. Sorry. I do panel. There we go. Okay, so the way I do that, the way I do this, a lot of times I'll just pick out a standard color. What I have displayed, like down the bottom, these are my basically the ribs of the shipping containers that I've put together and drawn out, and these are the layers I'm going to use for what I'm going to be doing. So generally what I end up doing is I just pick a standard color, what I want, so I can so I'm just going to start filling in here. So a lot of the images and a lot of the pictures that I get are from the internet. A lot of times a lot of the logos I'll copy and then just kind of modify it and edit a little bit and trim them down. So I'm able to actually use a lot of these photographs. So I got the color that I'm interested in. Then what I'll do is I have this right here. I have my basically the standard shape that I have for the ones. So I'm going to place the layers in here. So as I put the layer in, I want to reduce, basically I'm trying to bring it in here a little, reduce how dark it is. So it looks like it's kind of hidden inside so it looks like, so it's in the, so it's more worn, like it's more brought into it. So it's not as strong the color. The type of shipping container I was thinking about for a while what to make for here for the show. So I decided to do something for the frontline workers. I have family that is involved with the front lines and that are dealing with it. So I've decided to just do kind of a something dedicated to the frontline workers that are on right now. Okay. And so what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to start off with, we'll do this side right here. So I was going through some of the photographs for something to dedicate them. So what I ended up doing is found some graffiti work there was one image that I really liked that I picked up. It was from Mexico. It was a graffiti job. So I thought this would be a perfect image to put into the shipping container. So what I do is, this is from a photograph. So if you have a photograph, you can actually remove this particular, remove an image and then end up using it for pretty much any kind of layout, or not layout, but for the container that you are using.
This reminds me a lot like Photoshop.
Yeah, that's
That's what this
exactly.
program-
Yeah.
That's what this thing reminds me of.
Yeah. So it is very much like Photoshop. So a lot of times with the containers, that I don't have much on currently on my website with graffiti, but you can add graffiti, you can add all sorts of decals that you would like. So I'm just now just cropping it so I'm able to work with it better. Oh. And okay, so I'm just going to grab the image, and then I'm just going to place it on this container right here. So then I'm just basically just placing it a little bit. The outer parts right here for this thing, so I'm going to I'm going to actually put it more behind, so this looks like it's more part of the container. So it's more of like as a painted image in there. So I find sometimes when I do these images, I find sometimes might be too strong, the color. So I kind of want to put a little weathering or make it dull. So I'm just going to put a little bit, soften it, the color into here. And then what I want to do is I'm just kind of now I'm going to go through, going to put something like a logos for some of the shipping lines and some of the stuff I want to put through here. So and I'm going to do that. So now I have basically what I have, pretty much basically what I want in the image. So now I'm going to start doing weathering and weathering on my. I'm going to do some some weathering on there, or some rust and some stuff on the container. So now I'm just going to go over. I'm going to look at different brush types and stuff. Different.
Charles, what program are you using?
I'm using Corel Paint Shop Pro, the newest version of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just and I continue doing that. I find different types. I mix it up a little bit.
Charles, this same concept would work for billboards or anything like that, wouldn't it? Sign-
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly. If you're doing a layout for a billboard, and you know your dimensions and what you want, it works out well. So what I'm doing, so I actually have it down. The design that I'm making right now is for HO, and the pixels, the amount of, but the print size ends up being the HO scale. But if you want to increase the size, you just have to increase your the printer settings and adjust it for the scale that you're using. So if I wanted anything, so right now I have an HO. If I want to go up to an O scale, I'll just do it 158 times. 181 times. 180 times percent. I raise that percentage up. Or if I want to go down to N scale, I just reduce it down to 54%. I reduce down to 54%, and I get into either scale. And the pixelation I use for doing this is about 300 per square 300 pixels per square inch. And I find that usually works the best. Like from what I've seen, it works the best for you don't get much of the smudging, and the clarity of the pictures remains to me. For me, what I say, I don't notice much distortion in the pictures after that with that size.
You said you did that with your printer?
Yeah. Well, so what ends up happening is once I put everything, I end up taking these images and I put them in a template which I have, and then with the template, I'll print this template off, and I print it off on a 110 pound cardstock paper, and I print these images off. I print it off, and then you end up cutting out the remaining pieces, and you fold it together, and you glue the ends together, and then you end up having a shipping container.
What do you do about the top?
The top will be actually right here. This is the top. Actually, I can have another template right here. There's the
So
top.
basically you're doing two sides, the top and two ends.
Exactly. So you end up doing all the sides, the top, the ends, and then I overlaid it on another piece, and then it just puts everything together. The image, the actual main template is. These are actually some of the ones I've done just recently right here. Not the ones down here. Those were photographs, but
Well, you have a bottom for them too, don't you?
all right.
You have a bottom for the container too, don't you?
I do not have a bottom for it. You can end up using, I don't have, I don't have the bottom, but you can definitely make, I could definitely make something up for the bottom. So this is where I have, this is the template where I place them. That's where I overlay it, and then I can, cut and that's where it ends up being, what I end up printing on the final piece. So if I want that, I will.
Well, when you save your pictures to get them to show through the background, you save them as what, a PNG?
Exactly, yeah. You can actually save it in whatever whatever you're comfortable in. I just like that format. For me, it's always
I
worked
guess the
really.
question is, how do you get it transparent so the lines of the trailer actually show through?
How do I basically with the PNG? So what happens? So the way I do with the lines, just one second. I'm just gonna quickly save this. So the way I get the lines to go show through is I'll do the main door. So I have like the door right here, which has a white background. So when I save it into PNG, I will select it, and then I'll select the transparency settings so that there will be a transparency in the background. So it removes, and I select the color that I want to be removed. So I actually have it set for white, and the tolerance will remove the white plus any other shadings up to a certain degree of the color. So that's what so that's how I get the transparency. And then with the transparency, the one with the transparency, I place it right on top. I place it on here, and then what I end up doing is I will reduce the how strong it is, and I blend it, and I'll pull it back into the actual color until I find how it blends in and what color I like the best. Every background is a different type of will react differently to the will react differently. So you'll see like some of the colors will not work well, won't work well, and other colors will actually work really well with depending on the depth you want to do.
So like with the lady holding the baby, I guess it is, you do the same thing, you make that transparent then?
Exactly, yeah. So with the lady holding the flower, yeah. That's actually just a normal, that's from originally from like this is the image it is taken from a pillar in Mexico City.
Right.
Yeah, so I end up actually just selecting this image and then pulling her out of the image a lot, or sometimes I'll find some of the photographs or the graffiti that you like can't be removed. So I'll end up be a very time consuming thing is I end up just going in there and erasing everything around her and then pulling her off. Then I would be pulling her off too when I do that. So there's the two ways I end up doing it. I know there's one over this one right here, I was trying a while back to remove this graffiti off this wall. And I kept on just, it wouldn't be pulled off. So I have to now, with this one particular, I actually have to go in the background and just it takes time to actually remove the brick, and then you just have the graffiti work. And then you overlay it in your image, and then you kind of blend, once you have the image in there, you use, this is the layer setting. So you end up, you put it behind the the container. So you don't put it up front. So you actually kind of bring it more
Okay,
into
gotcha. So you're putting it behind the
Oh.
container image, right?
Exactly. So like if I remove the ribs, that's all what you see right there. Like, so I actually put her behind the container image and then just have her in the background almost.
Your graffiti image, can you just click on the background and eliminate that color?
You can select the background. You can select the background and eliminate it.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, like so for that one right there, the way in order for me to do it, I would actually have to take my eraser right here, and it's going to be very time consuming. So I have to go over and actually end up.
Oh, you got to do everything?
I have to
with
do
the
everything
eraser?
exactly for this particular one
Oh.
image. I have to go through everything because the
Oh,
tool just
wow.
it's very time consuming to do that. I do that, and then I can have the image itself. Yeah, so I go in there and I just go in.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very time consuming. Yeah. Then yeah, so I have this. So I have a little bit of weathering that I like in this one. I'm gonna take this and this one right here. I'm just going to. I'm gonna put another logo in here. And so right here, the image is in front again. I'm just going to drop it behind, so you get the contour of the container.
Now you could shrink that background to have the whole circle on Canadian National Railways, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's this. I'm just going to remove that because it's a little on the big side. I'm going to reduce my percentage of this image. So for myself, I do this a lot of trial and error. I just work and I play, and if something works out right, works out, and if it doesn't, I try to figure out other ways of doing it. It's a lot of it, so it's just a lot of playing around. And for me, it's just relaxing and fun. It's a way for me. I do this after a hard day's worth of work and get home, and yeah, when the kids and the wife are all in bed, I do this late nights.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you use Photoshop at all or just Corel?
Just Corel.
Do you think Corel is easier than Photoshop or?
I have never used Photoshop. I've always been familiar with Corel. So I've never used Photoshop. I think it's, from my understanding, it's the same. It is actually pretty much exactly the same, almost very similar.
It looks
Um,
pretty much the same, yeah.
Yeah. I know with Photoshop, there is a lot more support. With Corel, there's not too much support, technical support.
Where did you get the lines for your containers?
The lines I actually did myself. So what happens was I went on the internet and I found some containers, and then I painstakingly removed a lot of the stuff and then ended up filling it in. And a lot of it too is some just basic, like I just go on the internet and I search for shipping containers, and then I get images or black and white, and then I kind of fill into what I think is like, I just play around with it in order for me to get the lines and the shape, and modify it to what I need to for me to work with. Yeah.
Now, something like this could also be done with, I remember coming across some kits where it was basically a block of wood, and then they had these painted sections that had the quote siding on it. And this looks, you could do something very similar to that.
Yeah.
I know Photoshop is expensive. Corel can be. I'm going to throw a link in here.
Yeah.
There's a program called Affinity, and they make basically the same stuff as Photoshop, but they charge a lot less money.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve, like everything else. But I'm working in it right now. I'm trying to make a new logo for Jim. He wants me to do something. So you couldn't convert a photo of the side of a container and get what you were trying to do?
Definitely. I actually have it. Actually, you can definitely do that. One of the things you can actually, if you have a container, if you've seen a container that you like, or pretty much anything, even with a train car, if you want to do something like this, I don't know, like if you're able to do it, or if you're able to do something for like a train car, one of the things you can do, actually, that's what I have over here, is the, like for this one, I have this image right here. It's a nice flat image. You can end up, it's a photograph of a container right here. You can basically crop this. And then
You screwed up?
I screwed up. And then,
Oh, it did an auto crop there.
yeah. You can just, over this exact size, I just end up pasting it over, and then you have it right there.
Okay, so you just got to get rid of any perspective and all that mess.
Exactly. So you just have to get rid of the outside, throw it on this on the exact dimensions that I have set up for the HO scale, and then you have it.
Yeah, and don't you have other scales on your website?
I do. I have HON, and O scale. The O scale, it's only the 20-foot shipping containers that you can print out. Anything larger than the 20-foot, you would probably need a legal size. Instead of your letter size, you need the legal size papers. And I have not, here in Canada, I haven't found any cardstock for the legal size papers.
You can get A3 cardstock.
Okay.
I've done press operation, and you can get A3 even A2 and A1 and
Yeah.
A.
Yep.
Talking about Photoshop, I basically just got Photoshop Elements, it's called. And you buy that disc, and it's a kind of a stripped down version of the actual Photoshop, but it does a lot. But there's no monthly fee to it, so
Yeah.
you can get them relatively inexpensive. I think I'm using like 13. But probably the newer ones, probably Element, whatever they're up to now, isn't really any different than an old one.
Yeah, on a Mac, we can't get any of the Elements or Paint Shop Pro. That's all Windows only. So we have to go to other solutions.
Well, you can do a Windows overlay on a Mac, right? And put
Not on the new ones.
No,
They're
not-
getting rid of the Intel chips, and there won't be any more emulation.
okay, because I know I've heard people put, the overlays and then.
Oh yeah, I do it.
overlay.
I have it's called emulation, and I use an emulator and run Windows programs all the time. But I won't be able to do that if I upgrade my Mac.
So they've taken away that option, huh?
The latest one still has Intel chips in it, but the new ones won't.
Right.
Because they're going to their own silicon, same stuff they use, similar to what they use in the iPhones, iPads. Yeah, it's supposed to be a lot cheaper, a lot cooler, and a lot less power requirements, and more powerful. I don't get how that works, but
But the downside is you can't use Windows stuff. That's the bad thing.
yeah, but they're not in business to sell Windows programs.
Well, right.
Oh yeah, boot camp and emulation has been a real boon. Speaking of trains, I do all my decoder programming in Windows because it won't run on anything else with an emulator on my Mac. Anybody need a decoder done?
Yeah, when am I gonna get mine?
Hey, my eyeballs don't work that well. I'm slow. But I have figured out why it won't work. I'm changing out from 6-pin to 8-pin for Paul. And all I could get is dull silver, bad solder joints. I got to clean off all the solder and start over.
Oh, God.
Well, TC, if I ever need a decoder programmed, I'll make sure I send it to you because, let's be honest, the last decoder I really did anything major with caught fire.
How did you do that?
I have no idea. I had the engine running on the test stand, right?
Yes.
It's running. All of a sudden, I smell something, and I look up, and it's on fire.
Chris, have you ever seen that? Charles, I should say, have you ever seen a decoder burst into fire?
I'm not actually familiar with the decoder, so my only experiences, I'm more familiar with just the power packs, plug it in, set it up. That was been the layouts I've always done. With all the computerized stuff, I don't know anything about it. I've been wanting to do DCC for the longest time. Just money right now is my biggest hurdle.
So he plays with his computer and paper. That's cheap.
Yeah.
Charles, I've went out and measured quote unquote 20-foot containers, and they're actually 19 feet, 10 inches
Yeah.
total length.
Yeah.
That's so they can put two of them underneath a 40-foot container
Yeah.
and get the locks to work.
Where'd you get that caution sign? Just off this stuff you got on the bottom?
Off the sign, I just put in, I just type in shipping containers decals or shipping container symbols, and I just look on the images, and they all and I ended up just copying and paste a lot of just get it from the internet, and then reduce the size that I have. So a lot of the images I do get are from the internet. From when I do the searches, I go on the website, I type in shipping containers, just caution signs or warning, like symbols, and I get a lot of that stuff out from the internet.
Have you tried drawing any of this yourself?
I'm not a good drawer. A lot of the stuff I've tried some of it. Like the ribs were fine. I do a lot of the filling in, but a lot of times I need a platform that I need for myself. I need a platform to kind of just get the ideas and work from a little bit, and then I kind of just put them together and work from it.
But if somebody wanted to create their own graffiti, that's doable with what you're doing.
Exactly, it is definitely doable.
So Charles, let me ask you a question. If somebody wanted to, they could make the card sides for box cars, that kind of thing like this, couldn't they?
Exactly. Anyone could definitely do the box size. What I do a lot of times is I'll create size, just go into here to create a new file. I will
Mhm.
put in the dimensions that I need for I'll put in the dimensions that I want for the container, and then I'll get the blank screen that you had saw in the beginning before I started making it and coloring it in. So then that would be something that would work off that. And then while I work on it, I save it under I don't save it under the PNG file. I save it as a work file, so I can always see the layers. And if I walk away, I can always adjust the different layers and work individually with the layers. And once I'm happy from what I have, then I'll save it into the format I'm going to be using for the printout.
That would be a lot of save as files.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but looking at this, once you've got the core files together, or you've got your transparencies together, you can put one of these together pretty quickly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is good, because you can get some serious variety going here.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you actually have a collection, like for myself, I have a collection of stuff. I take some out, I remove some in occasionally. But for the logo, like for the container logos, I got quite a few. And then also like even oh, that's a different one. Yeah, so like graffiti, I'm starting to build up a little collection of the graffiti stuff. But yeah, it ends up being quick once you have once you have what you want, it's not too difficult to put them all together.
Now, is there a possibility to have like serial numbers on there? If you're doing like 10 of them, and have them all have a serial number on them?
You mean for the what like have like on section right here, or
Yeah.
yeah, you can, if you have you can have multiple set up for serial numbers. I know I have right here just a few collections of the serial numbers I've made up. I just have a few of them right here. But yeah, you can definitely do, that's not an issue, not a problem at all. Also, I have a bunch of stuff right here you can put in on different types right here. So, so another thing that I'm starting to work on, I'm actually also beginning to build buildings myself. The buildings that you see on my website are all from from like open source stuff that I found online. Those are like the buildings, a lot of the buildings I have there. And I'm starting to build my own building right now, which I'm currently working on. It's a train station from, I'm just gonna pull up an image right now of this. It's Moore Park Station from the Toronto Beltline, which is built in 1890, or actually 1892, I believe it was. There we go. It's no longer existing. It was the first commuter railroad in Toronto. So I'm trying to build this one right now. Same type of idea, same concept. Making that with the same way. I don't know how long it's been torn down for many years now, but it's a bit of a challenge, this one.
That's a
But
pretty cool looking building, really.
it is, and that's what caught my attention. I really like I really like the photo, like the image of this, and I wanted to try to make this thing the same type of way with the cardstock, and then end up building it. And eventually, I wanted my website probably by the time I'm done will be probably sometime after Christmas, I think, or early next year, I would say.
Well, that's a new use for toilet paper rolls.
Yeah.
Is that going to be downloaded from your site?
That will be on my site probably sometime early next year.
Is that a freebie or are you going to charge for it?
Everything on my website is free. A lot of the stuff I just don't. For me, like for me, I do my website for fun. It's more pleasure. It's fun. I enjoy it. I work full time. Like I work full time. I don't have. I don't know. I don't know the whole. Like, if I would start charging for stuff like that, I don't know. To be honest, I wouldn't know where to start and begin and how to do it. So I just put everything up for free and make it as just an enjoyable hobby for myself.
Do you have any issues with any, like, since you're allowing all this stuff to be downloaded, using other people's images? Do you have any problem with that, or?
Sometimes I have. I've had a few people. I've had when I sometimes I went into the open source stuff and got some of their models onto my website, and if they complain, I just take them down shortly afterwards. So that's what I end up doing.
I know a lot of the fallen flags railroads, even though they're fallen flags, the railroads that own all of them now are like, yeah, you can't use them for anything, profitable or anything else.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, why my website all the stuff is free, because I know there's a lot of other people's works on my site, and for being free, it just makes it more like an open source. Makes it easier on everybody else, I think.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because I used to decal cars and train cars, and that's what we got into, is some of the, you were selling them. Well, we want royalties off of using the
Yeah.
CN rate.
The railroads lost that lawsuit with the NMRA.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that the judge told the railroads, okay, you can have your royalties, but you have to pay all the model railroaders in the world a rate for advertising on their railroads. And the railroads decided they didn't want to do that.
Right.
So they dropped the lawsuit.
Right. Well, yeah, because we as model railroaders advertise a lot of their stuff,
So the railroads gave it up.
what intrigued me about this was the ease and the variety of your scenery that you could create using using this concept that Charles has and using his models. It's almost unlimited, it seemed to me.
Yeah, you can, from what you were saying, like we're making billboards and stuff, if you, or even names on some of the buildings, you can do almost anything you want. It's pretty very open.
Charles, do you know if you take a photo of something, is that considered open source?
I don't know, to be honest. I know, I don't know. I know a lot of the, I just don't know. I can't really say.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I haven't been, no one's ever confronted me on that, so I don't, I've never had that problem.
Photography is usually considered original artwork, just like an artist. But then you get into what's the subject matter, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if you take a picture of a building and recreate it, I'm not sure on that, but if there was people in it, you would probably, and you wanted to keep people in it, you'd probably have to get permission from them if you were trying to promote it or give it out there for free. I'm not sure. A lot of that stuff gets sticky.
Yeah, and for me, like having everything for free, for me, it just avoids all that. Like I don't, because I'm not making any money off it. It's more for just me making it
Right.
fun, and I don't gain anything off of it. So yeah.
Using your system here, can you make decals instead of printing it on cardboard?
You mean decals for?
Putting on items
Oh yeah, definitely.
like your the back door of your container where it has
Yeah.
all the weight and all that.
Yep. Right.
You can make a decal out of that.
Yeah, you could make a decal out of it.
The,
You need to be able to provide, one of the things you can actually, a lot of these pictures too, you can actually print it off on like a peel and like I think it's a peel and stick, I think, or rub and stick. You can print it off in some like a filament, and you can actually rub it onto anything. You can rub it on, print it off, and then you can actually rub it and put it onto any as a decal.
what you run into on like a water slide decal is all the printers, including laser prints. If you do it on clear decal paper, everything is transparent, so there's no solid background. So you have to put it on a real white background in order for that decal to show up. If you try to put it, on a dark background, like the CN logo would just kind of disappear into it. And of course, if you do it on white, then you have to cut out that image perfectly, so you don't have any white around it.
There are now printers. I know laser. Paul bought one. I almost bought one. And I think even inkjets, you can get white ink now.
Right, they're starting to get white ink. I've got an old Alps printer that
Yeah, you can do backgrounds with that, but it's
right.
yellow, doesn't show, whatever.
But it's once it goes out, I'm done with, done being able to do that. But they are starting to do some of the laser printers with white ink capabilities for sure.
Not cheap.
No, they're not. Well, the Alps wasn't really cheap either for their time.
I never had one.
Yeah. They're great for the decals, but they're slow for any other thing. And that's why they never really lasted, because it was just too slow of a printer. And it was very fragile type as well.
Yep.
Since it used heat transfer through the head would burn out relatively easy. if you didn't use the proper stuff, paper or whatever on it.
Yeah, the dye sublimation printers do that. They dye easily. The only
Right.
only people still doing that is people making big banners that have to be weatherproof.
Right, yeah. But like I say, I've still got an Alps left, but it's kind of acting up now, so I'm not sure how long it'll last.
So that's how you assemble it all, and then you just cut and
Exactly.
Oh.
So I would assemble it on right here, and then I would just print it off, and it's done.
what do you use for a base?
For base, you can use. I end up using sometimes a little bit of you can use cardboard. I've heard of people putting a blocks inside them. Generally with the cardstocks, they actually hold up really well. With the 110-pound cardstocks, they generally, I find they work really well. Like they don't fall apart. They don't. They're pretty stable. And then I just glue it onto the table, or just a piece, or glued onto some kind of display. This is what I've seen people have done. Actually, there's things that let me just. Oh.
TC, what I did when I built mine
Yeah.
is I took the dimensions of the roof,
Yeah,
added a 1/2 inch on all 4 sides,
yeah,
bent the extra up so that it would fit inside the sides and the ends.
yeah.
And before I fastened the final end together, I put the bottom in. Then when I did the final end, I had a 4-sided container, and it was all inside. Therefore, I could load it with any kind of weight I wanted from the end.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You could weight it so you had stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those spine cars and I call them Gunderson cars, well cars, are rather lightweight.
Yep, and you could. That's what I meant. That's why, to me, his design and everything is perfect. But I thought, well, I needed a floor because I want to weight some of them. So to put the weight on, I just duplicated the top and then made it extra wide and long, so I could glue the ends and the sides to it. And I just did one side at a time, then the other, one end, and then fasten the last end in when I finished it.
Yeah.
What about using like 1:64 plywood or something like that?
Could do that.
Yeah.
Gator board, anything,
Foam core.
anything.
Form core, gator board, it all work rather well.
Cool.
I
Just
built
use #1 glue.
I built some a while back, and I actually cut some pieces of wood the exact size of the container, and then just folded everything over it.
Yep.
And that worked pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah, and then pretty much you end up with here's the image that you can cut out with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to share the screen again. I'm just going to see
Charles, what's your website?
krafttrains.com. So KRAFT and Kraft, yeah, TRANS.com.
Do you have the chat window there, Charles, that you could type that into for everybody?
Sure. Sorry.
I'm kind of interested in some of the buildings you have on there. I was briefly looking at. That's kind of been my thing, is buildings as well, designing buildings.
Yeah.
You've got some great container cars there, but the containers are too new for me, for my railroads. But I do like them though. They're very
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you.
Krafttrains.com. Okay.
So is it just a digital file that we download, or is there actual printouts that we're purchasing?
You're actually printing out you can actually print out all the files in one PDF. They're all in PDF formats. So you can actually print it out all in So like you can print it out in all, either individual or all of them. So like right here, yeah. So right here, this is some of the stuff that you can actually do with these containers. Right here, some of the displays models. This is an HO scale. These are the different sizes for HO. And if you have the different cardstock, you can print it in O2. You just have to increase your print percentage for them.
So for us, I just print your HO file at 136%.
Exactly.
Really?
That's the ratio. How well does it scale up?
The scales are pretty good. Some of them are kind of, some of the earlier ones that I've done out there. A lot of the earlier ones that I've done are can smudge a little bit the color or bleed a little bit, and because I didn't have them at I didn't have the pixels. The pixels I had too small. I get not enough pixels, so that's why I went. So now if this is where I went, now I'm going with the 300, which ends up being a lot better. It works well. Yeah. So here's some of the. Here's some of the 40-foot containers.
So has anybody ever done your buildings in other scales?
Some people, there are people that have done the buildings on there. A lot of the buildings that are on there right now, like the buildings that are on there, are done by other people. So, like they're done. I got them off a lot of forums and a lot of open source stuff that I was able to use. So, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't myself actually have built, like the train station right now is working on is one of my, is the next thing I'm trying to do up now for myself. And yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason this is exciting to me is it's so easy for a person to get started in model building this way. You don't have a lot of expense. You don't have to have a lot of equipment or tools or space. Glue and an X-Acto knife, a steel ruler will basically get you started.
Yeah. So if I could send maybe Jim the model that I've made. I don't know if yeah, I'll send Jim the model that I've made, and that he can post it. If you're okay with that, Jim, I can
Send it to Dylan. He'll be able to post it. I won't.
Okay, perfect. I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Dylan's.
I believe I do.
Hold on.
Paul, or no, Charles,
Yeah.
if you in the chat, you should see a little button that says file.
Okay.
You should be able to post it there,
In the
and all of us will get it,
okay.
and then I can get it on the website.
Okay, perfect. I will. Let me just save this first. And
Fred, you don't have multicolor in front of you right now.
It finally straightened up.
And until for the next 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. I think it's called a new computer in my future.
That only takes greenbacks.
That's right.
Where are you at, Fred?
Outside Detroit.
You ought to be able to find some kind of place there that can get you a decent computer.
Yeah. Well, I bought this one down in Florida several years ago. The warranty ran out, and the next day the computer died.
So I left the image, the file on the, so it's on the chat now.
Okay, and I will get it on the computer, on the website.
Okay.
Jim, I'm just gonna add it to the, upload it and then add it as a download on the post about his
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Is there a way that we can see a picture of it here?
Yeah, I'll share my screen real quick.
While he's doing that, I've got a couple
Yeah.
of questions about train shows. Has anybody been having train shows in their area? Or I'm up in northern Indiana and pretty much everything has been canceled to the first of the year up here.
It's been canceled in the state of Washington also.
There was just something online recently about somebody who's going ahead with a train show, but it's like going to Walmart. You can only be, so, I don't know how much business they're going to get.
Right. I know there was one here, I think it's coming up this next weekend. And I'm surprised they had it, but it's usually a relatively small show. They're probably lucky if they get 100 people, but I don't think I'm ready to go to a train show.
There's supposed to be one here in the Hickory area in November in North Carolina.
And don't forget, we're doing the virtual train show.
Right.
We just had a very nice one and we're doing another one next month.
Most of the train shows in Ontario are canceled.
Yeah.
Some of them next year too.
First one that we did, we've had what, Dylan, 350 so far total? People that have come and seen it?
Probably checking. But anyway, there's the file as I just pulled it off the chat. It's a PNG, just a PNG picture that you print out. Make sure you print it at 100% or whatever you need for your scale.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be quite 200% for American O. But, take your scale that you got and divide it by the scale of the object, and it'll give you the ratio. Something like that, I think.
Mhm.
I probably should check that before I blab.
We always know where to come back to.
Yeah.
I'll just, Paul, I'll just send them to your website.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, you take the new size, like 48, or in our case, 64, and you divide by the old size, and then you multiply the result by 100.
Works for me.
That will give you a correct ratio.
Question for Charles.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a hot pink container with the word "one" on it?
No, I haven't. I've seen a hot pink container, but never with the word one, or you said.
Yeah.
I've seen a hot pink, but I don't know what the logo was. I don't know what was on there.
Okay. Would you like photographs of the ends if I can get to them and one side?
I'm sorry, I lost you there, sir.
I can take photographs of them. I have some. And I
Okay,
can
sure,
take
definitely.
a picture of one side and both ends. So you end
That
up
would-
with a good.
That would be fantastic. I would love it. Yeah, you can definitely take the pictures and you can send it to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you my email address. I'll just put it in the chat here.
There is the formula that I use to convert things. if anybody wants it.
Got
It's not original to me either, Jim. I stole it from somebody.
it.
The
Kraft
ONE
train.
is,
Okay, got it.
yeah, the ONE is Ocean Network Express.
Oh, that's nice to know. And you know this how, David?
I follow containers.
Oh.
And it's a merging of 4 or 5 previous carriers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yes.
look forward, I look forward to that station going up on your website. I like that.
Yeah. This is right here, the part of the roof that I'm making already. It's just, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I really,
Paper is that going to take?
yeah, it's really, I really like the building. I actually go hiking there with my dog on now it's a hiking trail on the Beltline here in Toronto. And so it's yeah, and then there's just a little plaque where the station, well, there's a little plaque in the area. So, but it's yeah, I just and I to look it up, and I like the photos and like the pictures, and so I'm going to try this out. Try to make this one, because I've done quite a few of other models and stuff, and I really liked it, and I think it'll be interesting when it's done. Yeah.
Whereabouts are you located?
Right in Toronto, Canada.
Ah, beautiful downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, a little bit in the suburbs. I'm more towards more in Oshawa area.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is here.
Anybody have any more questions for Charles?
Yeah.
Nope, Charles, I'll be in touch later.
Okay, definitely. Yeah.
Charles, I really do appreciate this. I
Okay.
can't thank you enough. I think your stuff is fantastic. And I'm glad that you have the hobby that you do and share what you do as on your website. I think that's great.
Yep,
And
thank
when I was looking for sites to try to find downloadable products and so forth, I was really impressed with your site. It was easy to use. And for me, that's saying something, because it has to be very simple for me to be able to use it. So I do appreciate it very much. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Great looking stuff, Charles.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, next time we've got another interesting person, I think, that you're going to enjoy. It's a lady, Jill Kenneth. She owns a 3D printing company called Acropolis Studio Models. She and her husband are both HO modelers with their son, and she is also the president of the Professional Association of Model Builders. And I think she's really going to be an interesting person to meet and talk with, both from her own company standpoint about 3D modeling, from a professional standpoint, and also about the association that she's president of. So she'll be here next time, and I hope you can join us. I think it's going to really be interesting.
Will that be Wednesday or Saturday?
Well, we have them Wednesday and Saturday, and the next one is going to be Wednesday. So she'll be here Wednesday.
Thank you.
The following Wednesday after Jill is when we have our My Bill with Chris. And I do hope that you all will bring some models to show. Whether they're finished or not really doesn't matter. We'd like to see what you're working on, and particularly that you are working on something. After all, that's one of the real purposes of this program, is to get modelers building models and hopefully learning from us and learning from other people to try to pass along the skills that are in the hobby today. So, we'd love to see what you're working on and how it's coming.
So when's the next session? This coming Wednesday or a week from Wednesday?
This coming Wednesday is Jill, and then the following Wednesday is the My Bill with Chris.
The following Wednesday would be considered a show and tell.
Yeah, yep, the whole day, whole time. And
Okay.
it went very well for the first one that we had. We started out, Chris and I were talking about it, and he came up with the name. I wanted to try to find something where people felt that they really had pride in what they had done, and that they wanted other people to see it and they wanted to share it. Because there's nothing like, in my opinion, being able to step back from a model that you built and say, I built that, and to be proud of the model that you built. I think that's one of the great experiences we have in modeling. And the more people that can be encouraged to build models, the more people are going to feel that, and therefore they're going to keep building and build more once they have felt that thrill of being able to stand back and say, I built that, that's my model. And if you've never had that chance, then you really missed something, in my opinion, in the hobby. So Chris came up and said, well, we can't talk about like that all the time, so let's just call it My Build, which has that connotation that I was trying to get into it. And it's very simple to talk about. Chris, you want to talk about it anymore?
No, I think you explained it pretty well. This is your chance. It doesn't matter whether it's completed or not, but it's really a vehicle to get people talking. And maybe if you've got a model or you're stuck on something, you bring this up and show it to us and go, well, hey, this company makes this product. You might want to try it and see how that works out for you. So, it's not just specifically your build. In sharing it, it could actually be a kind of a community build in that sense. And if we all work together, we can come up with something better than just working on it by ourselves, essentially.
And I hope that you'll bring your new caboose that I saw you talking about the other day. That's a neat looking little model.
Yeah, I just put the second coat of weathering on it tonight, or this afternoon. So what I actually do with this one is I weather it first, then I'll put a coat of paint on it, and then weather it again. So hopefully, what it'll do is it'll show, it'll give it more of a worn look that way.
Yeah, that's neat.
How are those lighthouses coming along, Chris?
Oh, well, I actually expanded the tower on the one. I have a lot more room where I could expand it, but I'm not quite sure exactly how far I should do that. But I did scale it up so I could cut it and see what happens and figure out what to do from there.
How's your new machine working?
Oh, it's pretty good, but I don't think I've seen it in about, a week or two, because it just been ungodly busy. In fact, when I stopped in on Wednesday, I was actually, I just got into a hotel in Montana, and I was like, oh, time to go to dinner. So I was like, hey, sorry, got to run, but at least I stopped in. And see, my car died this week, so I had to go buy a new car, and it's been a busy week.
Yeah, I bet.
So hopefully things slow down, and I'll get back into to getting the laser cutter working.
Anybody else have anything?
I'm just gonna let you
thank
know.
you.
Just to mention on my website for my email address, it would be, I just typed it in the beginning of it was just Kraft Trains. I did not place the S at the end of Kraft Trains, so I just retyped in the proper email address. Yeah.
You're as bad as I am, Charles.
I'm horrible with technology, with the computers. Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight, and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.